As you can tell, I love my film, and today I want to walk through the different kinds of film, the different sizes of film, different stocks of film that you can get. Hello guys, my name is John Sparkman, a photographer in Birmingham in the UK, and I've been dealing with film on and off for about 9-10 years now. I spent 6 years working in a printing lab back where I used to live in Cheltenham, and I would extract films and put them through a developer and then take them out and scan them and print them and cut them and give them to people. I went off on buying sprees and I was buying up all the film I could back in the day, 2011, 2012. Film was getting pretty cheap because digital was coming in. So I was buying it, I was developing it for free. Since then I've kind of progressed. I don't work at the place anymore, I don't even live in the same town anymore, so I have to pay for my film, which hurts, I feel it. But I want to walk through the basic kinds of film that you can commercially buy. This isn't a steadfast rule, you can do whatever you want with whatever films. However, I've seen the limitations of certain film and I've seen the general use of most films, so hopefully if you're a beginner or you're just trying to explore this stupidly vast range of film that you can get, this might help. You may have seen one of these roll films before. They come in little pots like one of these, and when you crack one open, you've got that little tongue sticking out there, and you've got the roll of film just inside there, completely closed away from light, because if any light hits this, the film's ruined. 35mm, you kind of get these little grooved kind of holes along the top and bottom of the film. It's a very long film, it's about 6 foot long normally when it's fully laid out, and on it your camera will take somewhere between 24 and 36 photos, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less, depends how you load it, how your camera is. And each of the shots are kind of laid next to each other. The film is pulled through the camera kind of at set increments, and it exposes the next bit of film, pulls it, exposes the next bit of film with each shot you take. This would be your normal film, the film your parents used in the 90s, 80s, 70s, the film my parents used, everyone's been using for the past kind of coming up to 100 years now. So it's a pretty versatile film. These are relatively cheap to buy. They're somewhere between £3 and £10 a film in 2020, and you're looking at about probably £8 to £15 to develop, scan, get some pictures as well. Now the kind of film that I have here is a colour negative, so as you might be able to tell, it's kind of brown, and if you were to look really closely under a light, any picture you see on it is backwards, so anything which is bright is dark on the negative, anything which is dark, so like a shadow on the negative, will be light. The advantage of using colour negative 35mm, this film here, is it's widely available and you can get it processed pretty much anywhere that does film. This is the stock 80-90% of films that are done on a kind of consumer basis. Moving on, we'll stick with the same size film, 35mm, but we'll just go for a little bit of a variant. So this one is in a slightly longer strip, we call these 6s back when I used to print, and this is exactly the same kind of film, so you've got the sprockets, but it's kind of a grey colour instead of the other almost browny orangey colour that we had before. I don't know if you can see that. It's still negative, so the image is reversed on it. This is pure black and white. So these are primarily made by a company called Ilford. They are based in the UK, just down the road. I really should go see them one day. And they produce absolutely stunning classic black and white films. The best one I've ever used is the HP5. It's a 400 ISO film, and it is so flexible you can shoot it at pretty much any ISO. Apart from giving you those tasty monotone shades, the advantage of shooting black and white is you can develop at home relatively cheaply. C41 or colour negative, the old film that I showed you, it requires multiple chemicals, several baths, heated up to certain degrees, and it gets quite expensive to develop at home. Much better just to send that into a lab and get that printed elsewhere. Let someone else figure that out for you. This stuff you can get pretty cheap chemicals, a tank where you submerge the film in the chemical in kind of a dark chamber like a Tupperware. Develop these at home for really, really cheap as well. You can be looking at like £1 of film to develop at home. Probably the most forgiving film out of anything you can buy is black and white. You should still be able to pick up Ilford in most stores. Just a quick tip whilst you're at it, try and hold your films by either the sprockety bits here or by kind of dead ends. This is the end that was stuck out the camera. You can actually see this gradient here from when it goes light to dark. This bit here was exposed to light, this bit was not. So when it kind of went through the developer, this bit had already been kind of scorched by the light and turned black instantly. This got no light, so it went clear. So you can see that is the difference between an unexposed and an exposed part of a film. We've already covered the two main kinds of film here, black and white and color negative 35, but let's upgrade the camera size. And this time we're going to go to medium format. But John, what is medium format? I'll tell you what medium format is. These are medium format. This is a medium format negative. Still that color reversal, that C41 process. We've got those brown reversed image kind of negatives. But look at the size of one of these negatives. That is up here. That's just one just there. Huge chunk. This is 6 by 7 centimeters. Whereas this negative is kind of 2.5 by 3.5 centimeters. So I can put them side by side and you can see kind of fit almost 4. It's almost 4 times the size of a regular 35mm. This film's a little bit harder to get hold of. Not your average supermarkets are going to stock medium format film. And it comes on rolls with kind of a plastic spool in the middle and then paper on the outside, kind of back to back with the film. And you would feed it into a specific camera, a medium format camera, roll it through, and you'll get somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 photos per roll. Is generally about the same price to develop, generally about the same price to buy the film as well. So kind of your cost per photo is 3 times the price of 35mm film already. That's just for your serious photos. Medium format cameras have different sized backs. So instead of having that fixed rectangle that 35mm has, you can have squares, you can have slightly bigger squares, you can, start going longer and longer. Some of the cameras I've used is 645, so 6 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters, 6.6, that's a Hasselblad, 6.7, that's a Mamiya, 6.8, that's a box camera, 6.9, that is a studio camera, and 6 by 17. Nothing really much more to say about the stock of film. Pretty much every stock you can get in 35mm. You can also get in this medium format. It's just a bigger size film, needs a different kind of camera. What I do have, which I didn't have in 35mm, is a different kind of development process. E6 or slide film will produce a positive film instead of negative. So what we're going to get at this point is, if I can fetch this out of this, these kind of negatives you can just blast light through and you can see the picture. It's in the correct colors. This traditionally slide film you would have mounted, you would have put like a plastic or a cardboard sleeve around each of the shots to kind of make it less flimsy. Popped it in a projector, blast the light into it, aim it at a wall. That's how you get your holiday photos back in the 70s and 80s. This film is unforgiving. So you remember when I talked about black and white film and color negative film, saying that if you pump too much light into it, if you shoot at kind of the wrong setting, it's all right, it'll sort you out. This will not. This does not care for you. It does not care about your costs. It doesn't care about your money. If you even get this slightly wrong, you cannot recover it in kind of scanning and post-processing. They'll just become more contrasty, the highlights will disappear, the shadows will disappear. You've got to get this reasonably spot on every time. That is why I've only ever done this twice, and that's why this is the only one film that actually works. So we've gone through medium format, we've gone through 35mm. You may be asking, is there a bigger negative that I can use? Can I spend more money on film and get an even larger negative with even more quality and sharpness and resolution and all that stuff? There is. It's 5.4 or 4.5 or large format film. That's the size of it. That is not a printout, that is the size of a negative that would go into the camera. That is a 35mm film compared to a 5x4 inch negative. Now these are the old traditional kind of cameras where you put that hood over your head and you've got those bellows and there are lots of twisty things and they take one shot and that's it. The film is expensive. You're looking at £4 to £5 a shot minimum. The development is £5 to £10 a shot. You've got to kind of mount the negatives inside these kind of black frames with light sensitive card on either side, pop it in the camera, remove this dark slide thing, take your shot, cover it, flip it over, do the other side, remove it, send that away. 2 shots, £10 easy. I have here a Polaroid. This is of obviously my face a couple of years ago. See if facial recognition works. Oh, yep, it's got it. It doesn't know which one the real me. These are kind of throwaway shots. They are just one-offs. You can get about 8 photos inside a pack for about £20. Need a specific Polaroid camera. Essentially what it is a photographic area here. Chemicals in this kind of chunky bit at the bottom. And when it takes a shot, it pushes it through some rollers. The rollers push all the chemicals over the film, and over the next kind of few minutes, the picture develops. I wouldn't use these if you need accurate results, kind of if you need colours to be spot on, because generally the chemistry does what it feels like. The Polaroids themselves are not known for being colour accurate, but if you fancy something unexpected, if you like the one-off kind of appeal of not knowing what's going to happen next, you like the funky border colours, Polaroids are a good one. I used to have the SX70 back in the day, the little fold-up one with the leather trim on it. Oh, it was a beautiful, beautiful camera, but it started to fail, and it would have cost me way too much to kind of upkeep, send it off, so I got rid of that one. Next on the list we have the dearly missed Fujifilm FP100C peel-apart film. These would produce kind of, picture this is what, 4 by 5 maybe inches, perfectly decent positive film there. It's already kind of glossy with a border, and it would also come out with a negative side which you can bleach, remove the goo, and you can scan it. You can actually just put these on a scanner, flip the colours, get another copy. These came in about a pack of 10. Back when I was using them in 2014, 2013, they were £8 a pack, pretty reasonable actually. And they would come out through rollers again. You would use either a Polaroid land camera, so the 103 is the one I had, a funky little thing, or you would have much better Polaroid backs. That is where you would be able to fit that film onto the back of your medium format, your big negative, high-end, super awesome cameras, and quickly snap a shot off, develop it, and see what happens. You can't see what the light's going to be like when you're using roll film. So by just adding this back on and using an instant photo just to kind of look at the accuracy and the colours of this film that's going through your camera, you can make sure your settings are correct before you go and then blast through a roll of film. Really kind of, in the end, saved money. There's also nothing better in photography life than just pulling one of these films at the back of the camera. It's just so satisfying, just throw it on the floor and go, see that in a few minutes. So I hope that's helped. That is a quick rundown of different kinds of film, different kinds of film stock. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to answer them. In the future, I'm going to be running through different kinds of cameras. I'm going to be running through different ways of loading film, shooting film, why I would choose one over the other. Basically any film related stuff. If you like the content, stick around, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.